Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, PA folks. It's me all the way to the page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it's your man, always George Page, and look like I might be doing solo today. I don't get to do solo too often. I sent to my man Big Keith. He might come in, and some other people, but you know what? I don't have a problem doing solo. Sometimes it's good to have a back and forth banner with somebody in here in the stream with me, but if, like I said, as I said, I built this shit, me, brick by brick. So I don't have a problem going to do solo. So, folks, as you know, the future of women's bodybuilding is kind of, we're wondering what's going to be like for the next year. As you know, they just finished the last women's bodybuilding show for this year, which is next year's Olympic qualifier. That is their Media Muscle Fest, and that show is promoted by Wings of Strength, and also it's like I said again. Shout out to Wings of Strength. Shout out to Jake Wood. Yo Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. I can't help it. It's just so that was yesterday. It was a good show. I didn't get to see it because different time zone, and it's getting close to the holidays, and I'm kind of broke. So, oh, folks, I'm not riding alone. I got my brother here. My brother, he just came in the building. I gotta be solo, but he came, folks. So welcome, my big brother. He was absent last week. I know he has a lot of things to do. He's a busy man.
Monday Night Football, bro. You know I don't miss my games. My Chiefs are 9-0.
Yeah. I know, yeah. How's your boys doing? They look like they go for another Super Bowl.
We're 9-0, bro. You better ask somebody.
Should be proud of yourself. I know those Cowboys.
9-0.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good record. So anyway, folks, we have a discussion where we talk about what is the future for women's bodybuilding and just in general, what's going to happen to the upcoming year. Just had the Romania Muscle Fest, and one shot the winner, and the winner of that show was Anastasia Kovaleva. And Anastasia has been a pro since 2019. She turned pro at the Romania Muscle Fest, and she competed at that show just about every year ever since she's been a pro. And this girl, she's like, I think she's not even 30 yet, and she's just massive. I mean, I think she's one of the biggest women in the sport on record. I will play music. You got kept with YouTube. But like I said, she did pretty good last year. She cracked the top two. It was her and Lavinia Barros for the title. Lavinia won it that year. And then the year before, she got top three, top five. She's really been climbing. What you think, big bro? Is this the future of women's bodybuilding?
Does she got a passport?
You mean a visa? That's the thing she needs to work on. Because she was talking about that. I think they asked her about that. She should have been had one. Because she's from Russia, but she lives in Romania. So I don't know if there's some kind of issue or not that she can't get a visa, or she should have been had one, knowing that Peter show at the Olympia, and you want to get qualification. But like I said, she's been grinding for a long time. Put in the work, put in the time, and she finally got the opportunity. I mean, it was a strong lineup. I mean, you had some amazing ladies. You had Rashana Boswell took second. Third was I believe it was Lena Oprah, who also made it to Olympia, who competed in Olympia. And then you had I forgot who was fourth. I'm trying to remember who was fourth. Someone else was fourth, and finish off the top five. You had Julia Wetzel at sixth, and I was watching.
There, huh?
Yeah, Julia was there. She did an interview with the Female Bodybuilding channel, and it feels like from her expression, I don't know if we're going to be seeing her compete next year or not. It was another lady here. This lady who was fourth. She's a new competitor, and I don't see who was fifth. I believe, because I think this is she's a fourth, and I think Julie was sixth, and I think there was another person, but I don't see him right there in the picture. But she's been competing for a good while. Been a pro since the good part of I think about 2019. She was rigid physique, but now I think she feels like she needs to take a step back because she works with Helen and them, on her, in their Team Bro thing. But we will see. She did an interview, and I believe it's on the Wing Strength site. Let me pull it up. Maybe see it's somewhere here. Let me give you a second where she talks about it. Let me see. We go search for it real quick. See, we straight. All right. There we go. And she should be right here. I know she gave interview post the show. Wait a minute. It should be right about where is that interview? I saw it on. Excuse me a second. Should be right here. Cause see. I don't know where to put it yet. Cause she interviewed this woman here. It should be on here. I don't know where they. It was supposed to be an interview where she talked about her situation, but I don't know what it did with it. Now it must be on. I know I saw it, unless they moved it someplace else, because I don't know where it's at. But she. Wait a minute. I think it might be no. Well, I'll look for it later. So we'll discuss this. So going back to the situation on women's bodybuilding, what do you think is the future for the division? Now you have Kovaleva, Kovaleva getting into her first Olympia.
Is that the girl who just won?
Yeah.
It's one of these things. It's like the first question I asked: does she have a visa? And she said she's working on it. Here's the problem that you're having with this. It's just like who was a girl who went over to Portugal and took second, and then had to come back and win the show this year. Sherry.
That was Sherry. Yeah, Sherry
So
Priani.
again, here's my thing on this whole situation. It's great that she won, but the first question is you have to ask is, can you get to the United States? Yeah, I mean, if you can't get to the United States, it really doesn't mean anything. Nathan D'Asher and a few other athletes in the last couple years haven't been able to get to the United States because of visa issues for this, that, and the other. So does she look great? Yeah. Does it make the class of women bodybuilding strong? Yeah, if she can get to the United States, but that's the question, and I mean, most of the time when it comes to a passport or visa, I know here, like, in other places like Canada, you're either a felon, you have DUI, which is a felon, is some kind of criminal something most of the time when it comes to these visas and passports. So again, it's and again, I don't know what it is in other countries, but if if we're doing this again, and it's like the definition of insanity, and you got a girl who just qualified for the Olympia, won the show, great, look awesome, this and other, but you can't get here to compete next year, which she has a whole year, so hopefully something to get worked out. You're wasting another spot. You're truly wasting another spot. And at the end of the day, I know, like, when I fill out my card for my IFBB Pro card, they're like, "Do you have a visa or do you have a passport?" Yes, you know, all the information and all this other stuff. So I'm wondering how these people are applying or are writing. What are they writing on their applications? Because we all have to apply every year for it, $275 for it. So it'll all be interesting to see what these people who are being denied to come into the United States are actually put on their applications. Do you have a visa? Not yet. Working on it. And if you don't have it, I find it hard to give that, you know, unfortunately, the judges don't know that clearly, but I find it hard to give a spot to somebody who's going to waste a spot, So I hope that, it works out for her, but that's the issue right now that we're having with some of these European competitors. You know, I know if I mean, I remember Charles Griffin, the bodybuilder who won the Legion show last year. He went over to Canada like a few years back, and got there and they're like, nope, you got to turn back around and go home. You're not allowed in this country because he had a felon, and so he had a felony on his record. So it'll be interesting to see, what is going on. And like you said in the interview, she was explaining. So I would be interested to see what the explanation is of why, she's having a problem giving her visa. I know at one point in time it was a president thing when Trump was in office the first time, and denying people like Hadi Cooper couldn't get here. Remember for a couple years, and that's why Flex Lewis for many I think held on to the title because Hadi Cooper couldn't get here, and everybody wanted to see that battle. So I'm sure it's something along the way between the government and their personal deal. The reason why these athletes not getting there. So it'll be interesting. I hope she gets here because she looks like a hell of a competitor.
Well, I found the video. I had to go to another site to find it because I thought they have it on the We the Strength IG, but they had it on one of the other sites. So I'm gonna pull it up here where she's talking. There she is right there. Let's see, and we're gonna play it.
Does it feel?
It feels amazing. I finally did it. It was my fifth Romania show, and I did it.
You absolutely did do it. You are going to the Mr. Olympia 2025, and I have watched you on this stage now for a few years, and I've got to say this is your best look I've ever seen, and I'm so proud, and I know that everyone here is absolutely proud of you. And I can just say that routine is always amazing. How do you do it?
Because I love the audience with people. Because I think the bodybuilding it's not only competing; it's a show for people around us. That's why I try to make my routine so interesting, and I really love it.
Well, I can definitely say that everyone here loved your routine today and you got the crowd going. So thank you so much for that performance. And honestly, good luck on your journey. What is next? Are you going to relax now? Are you going to just take it easy?
I have just one today off and back to my regular schedule. It's never done, Work never be done.
That's amazing. And where can people find you?
On Instagram, of course. My Instagram is Korobleva.10. Just follow me.
There you guys, you go follow Anastasia to her journey at the 2025 Mr. Olympia. Thank you for watching Romania Muscle Fest, a Wings of Strength production, and we will see you soon.
Well, like I said, you didn't, because she wants to compete. I hope she does get her visa stuff straight because this is the biggest, the Olympia is the biggest event, and I would hate for her to miss out because, like I said, she's been competing as long as she has. She's still a young woman. I think she hadn't even cracked 38. When she turned pro, I think she was about 23, 25, 23, 24. And that was back in 2019. And she's been a pro for at least 5 years. And, and competed at the room. And she's been competing at that show just about consistently ever since she's been a pro.
Well, like I said, she looks good. I mean, and clearly she's made the improvements. That she's needed to do. And again, like she said, tomorrow she goes back to work to regular schedule. People think after we win, we just take a break, and we really don't, because that's really the phase, in which we have the best time to grow and things like that. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I guess we'll just have to keep our ears open to see what happens with her. And Glenn Boswell looked good. I mean, Julia, I mean, again, some of these girls, you have to understand that all these shows that they do, sometimes you just need, to make the improvements that you need to make, you got to take some time off. And I don't even know why Julia Wetzel would go over there. I think her and Boswell, and I get it, her and Boswell went up, huh? I can't hear you.
That was Julia Foray, not Julia
Oh,
Wetzel.
okay, yeah. So
Julia Foray. I should have said that.
okay,
That was Julia Foray, not Julia
yeah,
Wetzel. She's not
yeah,
gonna. No, she's
yeah.
not. Yeah,
So
that was.
like something like Boswell, I understand Well, that's what she had qualified before. But again, at the end of the day, it's one, and I know she has a new coach again, but sometimes your body needs a break to make the improvements that you really need to make, to compete against somebody like this girl, and so as well as she took second, now she's going to have to go back home and take another break, and regroup and regather. And, imagine she, with this new coach, some things will change. But again, I mean, some of these girls just need a break. We already know how hard it is on their body, but Boswell, I mean, what was that, her like fourth show this year?
Yeah, because the first show she did was the Rising Phoenix.
Yeah.
Then she did the Alita Classic show.
Yep.
Then she did the show in the UK, and then she does this show, and that's 3 shows
She didn't do the world.
overseas.
She didn't do Rising Phoenix.
Yeah, she did Rising Phoenix.
So that's
so that's 4 shows, and 3 of those shows she did overseas, and 2 of them in Romania, and all 3 she got second place.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these European girls are no joke, man. So it's like it's not a cakewalk to go over there and just think you're gonna get the dub because the European girls are obviously coming in better and in better shape and bringing better packages. That it's not a cakewalk like it used to be.
Yeah, because remember, was it 2022 when she did the Europa in Spain?
Yep.
She was the first American to win that show in Spain. But
Yep.
now it's moved from Spain to the UK. Somebody else runs it. 2 bros run it now.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, we all remember that she won it last year when she did the Masters Olympia. Just Sherry, she took second at Portugal to Anastasia, another person who qualified for the Olympia, but
yeah,
this issue, her husband talking, hey, you come over here, yeah. But if your wife can't come here and compete, there's no point you talking that. Save that shit. Save that drama for your mama. Save that shit for yourself. We got here my man Chad Davis. Shout out to Chad coming through. He says, Brother George, don't talk about Dallas Cowboys. I'm still weeping.
Hey, y'all ownership sucks, bro. He needs to be an owner, not a general manager. So I feel for you.
Yeah, he needs to retire. Jerry Jones, go to pasture, and I don't know, do what you got to do, widow something, or listen or watch Andy Griffith show.
Seriously, leave somebody else in charge of the football.
Yeah. Also, he says, Brother George, those biceps I got on my profile picture. And he's talking about, I think he's talking about my picture I got of Andrew Yo. I did a live stream. I did a live stream last night with KL and then I used that for my cover. I just wanted to do something different. Also, excuse me. And said, good to see you guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. But yeah, it is, like I said, the women in Europe are starting to catch up. And also, it's just that one thing I think somebody told me, because the gear is a little bit more at a high level compared to the United States.
The gear? Yeah.
And that's why some Europeans, they move over here and try to compete. The look kind of changed differently. Either they have to.
Well, here's the thing. My buddy Cordell, who's a physique pro, he made a analogy, and it actually made sense as I thought about it. He says, like when you're in Europe and you're in those different countries, the food variety is way different and way less than the United States, and so your selection of food is just way different. And I think because in the United States you have such a, when they come over here, they go to a grocery store, they're like, holy shit, wow, look at this, like a kid in a candy store. Over in Europe and those foreign countries, it's different. So they're limit, and I don't want to, because people say the gear is different. I understand all this other stuff. But again, at the end of the day, what it boils down to is that, I always tell people, it's not about what I use, it's about what I'm eating, what I'm doing to make my body look this way. The gear is a precursor to everything else, this, that, and other. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is, when he said that, I was like, wow, that would make sense. Like when you go in, this is what you got, this is what you get. When you go in our grocery stores, it's like a kid in a candy store. You can get whatever. And I said, that only makes sense. So, you can see, like, the European athletes, whether it's Brazil, India, these guys in Kuwait, all these guys, they're coming hard these days, man. They're coming in great shape, great conditioning, and all this other stuff. And I wouldn't, and I would give them more credit than just the gear. I just think the overall culture of food and what they have to do and the limitations on what they have is making them better athletes than some of these athletes here in the United States.
One thing I found out is that also with American foods, we have more processed stuff. There's more
Exactly.
additive stuff. With foods overseas, like if you go to Italy, I remember I interviewed Jess Urbine. Urbine. She's a physique competitor. Her husband's originally from Colombia. They were in Colombia for about a month because his mother was sick and he was visiting her and see how she was doing. She said when she was eating, even it was the stuff that you're not on a regular basic diet, it was still a lot cleaner than the stuff that we have here. She's
Yes.
thinking about maybe going to what they might go back to visit the family again, stay the next 6 months, train, work out there. She feels like she can probably do a lot better over there,
Yeah.
especially in the diet wise, because
Yeah.
we have like a lot of processed foods, stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it's not good. I mean,
No.
I'm like I said, I'm eating a little better. I'm trying to be a little cleaner, but still there's some stuff like, in even with you know the meats you get, what they're injecting is because
Mm-hmm.
you want bigger animals. Like like I remember when people talk about injecting chickens and cows with steroids. You got teenage girls walking around with titties bigger than their mama. And you got your son who's supposed to be he's 10 years old. He's already 6 feet tall.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I think that's one of the biggest things over there. So there's, that's, when my buddy told me that, I was like, he is a physician assistant too. And I'm like, God, that makes sense. I mean, just think how much, I mean, and not saying all, but a lot of the European competitors and competitors overseas are coming with it. You got the Andrew Jacks, you got the Samson Duas, you got, Hadi Kupas, I mean, Big Ramy was around for a minute, this girl who just won this show, so you got some Europeans, whether it's Europeans or the Brazilians or whatever are coming for it, and they're looking really damn good. So kudos to them for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Here we got a comment from Dylan McCain. He says, "Great show, George. Great interview, Big G. Appreciate it. Also, we get this from man War 2000. Did you see the Romanian Pro show, George and Keith? Well, I didn't see it. I just clips and pictures here and there. I didn't watch the whole show because
Same
when
thing.
they had the prejudge, it was really early in the morning.
Yeah.
And right now, it's getting close to the holidays, so I'm not buying any more streams this rest of the month because I want to, holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And
So
like I know Opens man, they had a lot of guys there. I'm like, holy shit, dude, it was a lot of guys there. And I heard that show was pretty phenomenal too. But again, I don't even the guy who won. I want to say was from Brazil. The guy who won. But yeah, the lineup was just deep, and the women's lineup was always going to be good there just because, again, some people think, if you're trying to get an early qualification, like the Legion show, this Romania show, there's some shows where the classes are not as deep and not as thick. So if you're going to try to sneak in and get Olympic qualification so you can work on everything you do need for the next year, it's a perfect show to do. Like the one in New Prague next week, it's another good show to do, because again, you get that qualification. Then you got a whole year to take off to get everything fine tuned for the Olympia. So because you're already qualified.
well, we'll put the picture of the guy. Is this my man Big Keith. I got to do this for him because he's a bodybuilder, and we have the winner, the man's winner from the Romanian Muscle Fest. You see his name. His name is. We'll get his name right because I don't want to mess it up. I think it's Raf. Let me see. Let me click on his IG. It's Rafael Brandio. I think
Yeah, he's
that's what
from
his name is.
Brazil.
From Brazil. Guy got like about 1,000,007 followers. Yeah, pretty good. And this is gonna be. I don't know. This is gonna be first Olympia. You think?
I think he did. Was he not? I think he was in Olympia this year because I want to say he won. Was it Chicago? He won a show this year. I think he was already. I think he was in Olympia this year.
Let me see. We're going through his IG, and
Maybe
let's
even
see.
Brazilian Arnold, something like that. I know he won a show.
Yeah, don't see it. So it's probably a long way down here somewhere. But yeah, I think right here. looks like he's on the stage at Olympia. Uh, I think he was guest posing. He might have been guest posing the way it says in the thing in
Oh,
the tag. But wait. Here, I think this might be him right here. You know, and it looks like he. I saw the picture on the here, but yeah, here's a comparison from 2017 to 2024 Olympia. So yeah, he was at the
yep.
Olympia. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's just the evolution of each athlete, especially in the divisions, between women's bodybuilding, physique, and all the others. Everybody, now like this weekend we have two more shows, but they're for physique. There's the Atlantic Coast, and there's a show, the Ben Weeder Natural Show.
Yep.
We got a comment here from my man Warren. He says, "What do you think of Anastasia Kobalova winning?" Well, she deserved it. I
Yeah.
said, I'm a fan. She worked hard. I mean, been consistently and competing at that show and for a long time. Also, we had here. This is from Chad Davis. He says, "Cowboys versus Chiefs Super Bowl LX next year, Big Heath. We will
Dream
arm wrestle."
on, dream away. This team will be the referee. That's funny.
I think I'm sorry, bro. I don't think it's gonna happen. Maybe
No.
Dax is injured. He may not come back anytime soon. He might just pull a Tony Romo and retire.
The only way
Well,
I can see that happen is like they've been talking about if Deion Sanders takes the job and they draft his son, they sandbag the rest of their game so they can get a top pick and then they draft his son. Deion Sanders would be a good fit for the Dallas Cowboys. So, but they got to get rid of the coach, and they got to let Jerry Jones start just being an owner and not a GM because that's the downfall of their situation over in Dallas right now.
I'm gonna say this. Never was a big Dallas fan, but he messed it up when he got rid of Jimmy Johnson.
Oh,
He
yeah.
messed up that team.
His ego gets in the way.
Yeah, the thing is, you shouldn't be worried about making money and getting championships. He hired his buddy Barry Switzer, and he only reason why he got that one Super Bowl because of what the guys learned
Jimmy
from Jimmy.
Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, so you just kind of, you didn't win because of you.
Yeah.
Here, this is from Warrior says, "Will the Miss Olympia accept Anastasia as the top 5 contender?" I don't know. That's like I said, she has. I mean, you still have to. Andrea, you have Ashley, you have Angela. You never know if maybe Sherry Priami might pop back up into that spot again, and you still
Mm-hmm.
have Hella. You never know if you don't bring your best condition. She might can crack
Yep.
top 10, depending who's going to be competing next year. We all
Yeah.
know we have. We know Andrea's coming back. Angela's coming back. Ashley's coming back. Hella's coming back because she's already got a bye because she was a 2-time Rise Phoenix champion. And now Anastasia got her spot locked. So we just got to wait on everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
See what
Like I said,
happens.
yeah. This is from man. Warrior says AJ and JB are big fans of Anastasia Kovalova, and AJ was at the Romanian show. Briefly all excited like a kid on Christmas Day when Anastasia won. Yeah, because he's a big fan. He knows the girl for a long time. Her English has gotten a lot better because she didn't speak English that well, but it has gotten a lot better. Also, this is from a man. Dylan McKay says, "Yo, Keith, you look pumped, bro. Damn."
Thanks. I went to my gym workout was at 11:30 today. It's growing phase for me. So, I'm just getting ready for 2025. So it's a growing phase and detoxing the body so we can get ready for 2025. But I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so, yeah. And also, he said this. This is from Dylan McKay says, "Any tips, Keith? Thanks for a shout out, George. You appreciate it, brother."
What kind
And
of tips are we talking about?
just anything. I think just basically,
Hey,
if you want to,
eat clean, train smart. I was just telling somebody at the gym today, I train like the guys did in the 80s and 90s. All these, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, as much as despise him in so many ways. The guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to training and weightlifting and weights are weights and all these new fad diets. I have my client ask me, well, the reverse diet, what we're gonna do? I'm like, you mean adding the regular foods after you do your show in a couple weeks? I said, and macros. I said, no offense and all, not one time in my career as a pro or amateur have one of my clients or one of my trainers, and I've worked with some of the best, has ever sent me, Melanie being my coach, and she'll tell you a macro. 8 ounces of steak is 8 ounces of steak. 10 ounces of chicken, 10 ounces of chicken. I get numbers that make my life simple, to eat and live by. And then even when I go to the gym, Melanie's philosophy, and she talked about this with you, George, is check your ego at the door. It's not about the weight. It's not about how much you lift. It's about how you move in the weight. Charles Glass taught me that a long time ago. Mel's taught me that, and many other people have taught me that. So don't get caught up in nutrition is the first thing. If your nutrition is not on point, you're not going to get the gains. People want to say gear, but that's the precursor to everything else. Is how you eat, how you train, and then once you get to the element of gear and things like that, again, that's a personal decision of what you're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to do. That's just a precursor of what we do. So that's my tip of the day.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Dylan. He says, yo, I need you as a trainer about to go into the police academy. Well, young man, thank you for your service. I hope you do a good job. We need good people in the police because, yeah. But
Yeah,
also, this is from Warrior. He's always saying, if Tina is competing next year, please let us know because we are rooting for her, Keith. Yeah, we as you know, Tina is planning
yep,
on
she is
competing.
competing. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
just we got our blood work done. We got it back last week. Melanie is just going over everything, giving us a little break because we even with the 4.5 months that we were with her. Before then, we were still dieting and training hard. So our body just needs a break and decompress. I know she had looked at the Triple O, possibly Tampa or Orlando or Tampa or Chicago that we can do together. So we haven't really made a decision yet, but we are competing next year for sure because next year is Tokyo for me. So yeah.
hmm Also, we got here from Chad. He says, but I'm a fan till I'm 10 toes up. You erase what we have. We are both two dynasties teams. Big Keith, yeah. You still understand. So, yeah, it's about timing, what you're gonna bring. Like I said, the big question is we're gonna have shows because we talked about it before that last year wasn't many shows. This year was almost fewer shows until Alina stepped up and created the Alina Classic. Then you have now the the Grand Prix, Titan Grand Prix. So and now we have the return of the Masters Olympia. And that kind of helps with the number of shows, especially for women's bodybuilding. And there's at least there's just a couple of the shows week before this the women's with the Clash. I just talked to Lady did Evie a while back. That show, it was a one-time deal. They're not going to have it back next year. Um, the St. Louis Pro, they dropped women's physique from their lineup, and then there's talk about the Pittsburgh Pro expanding theirs. And they're picking up women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if somebody steps up and gives the opportunity for that show to add women's bodybuilding. Maybe just me, but I like to see that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if if the IFBB is so concerned about like these shows for women, and I don't know if they are, if they're not, you're going to like again, I refer back to what Chris Mim said to me at the Legion show. Well, if somebody gives me 20 grand, then I can put the women's bodybuilding in. At the end of the day, if it's financial is the biggest problem with getting this open women's bodybuilding classes in, then I feel that the IFBB should step in and do something like, whatever the, sanction fee is, maybe cut it in half, and then, hopefully, and then that can tell you if it's a success or not. I mean, like, if you're promoting it right and doing it the first year, you get the sanction fee cut in half. And it's like Tamer show in California. I mean, it was amazing, and I don't even think he advertised that show very well or very much, but Muscle Contest is a big brand. But again, I like he brought it in, and that was a Jake Wood and his decision, I imagine, and talking to Jim Mannion because they extended the invitation for the Olympia this last past few weeks ago, a month ago, or whatever. So I think it's something that the IFBB needs to step in and do as far as helping these promoters or pushing these promoters to want to, massage a little bit to want to put women's bodybuilding in there. What that's going to take is completely up to Jim Mannion, Tyler Mannion, Imagine, and fan and so forth, with the promoters of what they need to do to get these shows in there. Because at the end of the day, you still got to get clearance from the IFBB, and I don't know if these promoters say, man, I really want to get women's bodybuilding in here, but the sanction fee is killing me, the money's killing me, because nobody wants to rob Peter to pay Paul. You want to still make some money out instead of coming out even, because there's a lot of time and meticulous shit that goes into these shows to put them on. So I think that the way this succeeds for women is the women need to be more proactive, as far as exposing their sport to the world, doing the videos and doing all this other stuff. I just watched this cool thing on Andrea, I know you liked it too, of like the balance between family and training and her mom and all this other stuff, because that's the real side of what we do. It's not just, oh, we're in the gym every day eating chicken and rice and steak and sleeping, and taking gear. There's elements. I coach my daughter's basketball team. I coach my daughter's softball team. I train people. We have a bar to run. Plus I got to train myself. So there's real life shit that goes into this that I got two kids, one son that's playing for Major League Baseball, one son's kids starting point guard in the university. So we got a 3-year-old. So that's a balance of life. I think, and I'm and I got a great support system. Me and Tina support each other very much so. But I think if these women start exposing more to their life than just training, and we talked about this on Jeremy's show, it becomes better, and that's the reason why so many people like Samson Dua, because since 2018, he has pretty much documented his life on tape, a lot of his life on tape with the dog and his wife and the training, and travel and everything, and people start to, he won the People's Champ Award and he won the Mr. Olympia. These women don't do that, and I know, because even when I have gone to the world champions in the past, which they don't do the videos anymore, it was so like, okay, we know you lift weights. Okay, what else do you do? And I think they don't give themselves enough exposure in order to promote their sport, to get people to understand exactly what they do. Because, not every woman has babies. Not every woman have kids. You like Teresa. She's writing a book. She had an eating disorder and all this other stuff. When you get that out there to not your just niche group of people, but to a bigger audience, and there's women we know that have eating disorders. We know women who, suffer from self-consciousness and don't want to go to the gym. But if these women say, well, this is where I started. Margie, remember Margie was a big girl, lost all that weight and became one of the best bodybuilders ever to grace the stage. But you don't hear about these stories. You have to research to find out about these stories. And I think if these women put their stories out there, it's like when Janine was talking last week or the week before about, the rebound effect of after doing shows, and she's writing a book about it. I don't think there's enough information out there for the women, that is, or in our sport in general, to really truly get people to understand what we do and how complicated it is. Because the first thing that people look at when they see us is they affiliate bodybuilding with steroids, right? And it's more to it than that. So at the end of the day, giving them a better understanding of getting inside your life as a woman or male or whoever, a competitor in general in this sport, gives people better perspective and probably earn more respect and make it more popular. But until that happens, and the thing that drives me crazy with the women, who are having such a problem, is they don't do it. They don't do it at all, if any. I think the one girl who's the posing girl, the one girl who did the 5, things on the best trainer who, I think she's been a pro for 3 years.
Richard Daniels.
Yeah, she's doing a great job, of, talking about so many different things. But, but that's one person, versus, many more people who need to do the same thing, especially when, in essence, we see that sport kind of to fading and dying away. Like, if a trainer, if a promoter knew, like, man, these girls are on social media and they're fans, like you just said, the one girl had 1,000,000 followers, whatever case, or he had 1,000,000 followers,
Yeah.
and these girls have these many followers and people were supporting them, they probably wouldn't mind. They probably wouldn't mind. They probably wouldn't mind doing, putting on these shows. But when there's no popularity for it because they're not so promoting the show themselves, then the promoters definitely ain't gonna give a shit.
Yeah, yeah. We have here man KL the Wonder. He's popped in. Shout
Hey,
out to him. I
what's
was on
going
last
on?
night. Yeah, I was on last night. He had a little live, and that was part of it. I appreciate the invitation. We have a comment here from man Chad Davis says, Big Keith, do you have a Facebook, brother? I will send you a request, even though you are a red-haired Chiefs fan.
Yeah, it's Keith N. So it's Keith AN. Tina Williams is our fan page that we share together. So you can follow us on there, and yeah, we can get together.
Yeah, and he says, but he also says, but it's your call, brother. And also, this is from a warrior. He says, "Hey Keith, are you going to be judging any shows next year? So, are you going to still do your judging duties,
Yeah,
or are
yeah, I
focused?"
am. But the problem is, so like what I found out that Chad Nichols and Kim Shiseski only got 3 shows this year. Jack Tatone has gotten most of the shows, and I like Jack. Not gonna say anything because I got clients competing in the show in 2 weeks. Jack's different. He's in the St. Louis area. I'm more in the Kansas City, Kansas, Missouri area. So I imagine I'll probably judge, 3 shows this year. Um, you know, and like I even reached out to Jack, because sometimes these promoters like it when the pros show up, and I'll be there at the show because I have some clients competing for me to hand out awards to athletes and things like that. But I think not George, but Jack has his own panel of people that he travels with, and my opposing coach Robert Wickman is one of them. But we'll see. I know I'll judge some shows, maybe 2 or 3 shows this year, but that's it for the books for me for this year. So
Yeah, because I think Jack, he instead of he cut out Windsor from the St. Louis
Omaha,
Pro.
yeah,
He said they still have it Omaha because he said that if it was enough competitors for the Omaha, they were
oh
going to drop it.
yeah,
But there were at least I think about 15 women for that show, so it was enough to be able to save it a little bit.
nice.
The thing he did need to do is add another division, maybe bring back women's bodybuilding, but he's not going to do that. Or
No,
maybe figure or something. As you know, Wolfpack is always promoting the wellness division. Hey, bring that in. You might get a bigger crowd. People like
well,
wellness girls.
and you understand, I mean, the situation with Jack was in a lot of these shows was that Wings of Strength was backing these shows, for women's bodybuilding. So they're like, bet, let's do it because they weren't having, Jake probably was paying money, to have it. So, or to, support the show and the prize money and things like that. So, in which they did an unbelievable job. But again, Jamie, Jake, he's put a lot of time and effort into these things, and I've watched over the years, not Wings of Strength, because Alex and Jessica and all those girls and Nico and Jake and all those people, Alina and all those people, and Linda and all those people over there are great. What I've come to see when I was watching what was translating when the Wings of Strength um, were trying to support these girls. A lot of these girls, and I'm just gonna say, are fucking lazy. They want, and they want to take, but do nothing for it. So you got, it has to be I've watched it firsthand because Tina was a part of Wings of Strength, and these girls, it's like, no, it's like I'll give you a practical example. Servers at our bar. Somebody asked me, I say, would you rather have a pretty server or a girl who gives good service a little bit bigger? I'd rather have good service. At the end of the day, these girls are standing at these booths. They're not very inviting. You know, the Wings of Strength, when they fly them out, they got to do, appearances at booths. They want to help them pack the gift bags for the athletes. And just, I've seen it firsthand. A lot of these girls are just fucking lazy. So when you have that, on top of now Jake has broadened his range with Olympia and everything else. It's like, why am I doing this? It's like the Jerry Maguire, remember, help me, help you. Help me, help you. But if you're not helping me, why am I going to help you? And so I think that's why they went away from the sponsorship stuff, because there was like, what are we doing? That's why the world championships are world championships. But I think by what Jessica, who runs the Jessica and Alex and Jake and Linda and Alina, who runs all these different divisions at Wings of Strength, start seeing this, they're like, yeah, we can do other things like promoting shows in Romania and doing other things besides promoting these girls, because they're not promoting themselves. And the only way they will promote themselves is if they're getting paid for it. And that shouldn't be the case. If your sport's a dying breed, you guys should rally up together and and make a run for, hey, how do we get more, make our division more mainstream? And they just don't do anything like that whatsoever, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I said like this: someone like Andrea or Chelsea or Teresa or Angela, Sherry, have them come on one of these, these sports shows. Have them sit and talk about themselves and talk about the sport. Get some press conference and stuff like that. Something really to help them out. Really get yourself out there. You know, mingle. Do like I remember they used to do when they had the Wings of Strength. They had that muscle house where they get all the women and they were in the house together. Do something like that. But like I said, Jake's focused on other things, and if he doesn't
But
want
think about it. Think about it this way: how many of these girls have podcasts? How many of these girls go on podcasts without being paid? So again, at the end of the day, it's not just about your podcast, George, or Jeremy's podcast. It's about create exposure for yourself. Create exposure for one another. I'm sure if like you had an Angela Yo and like a Andrea Shaw and Ashley Jones all on one podcast, I mean, it'd be huge for what their sport is doing. Not just like you see this like thing on the Wings of Strength channel with them all in the gym lifting, but how many people watch that shit? But if you self promote like, hey, I'm going to be on, let's say, the All Rage George page, on this day, and send a link. How many people have asked me, and I got this, and actually I have to start having you do that. Hey, what's the link to the podcast you're on? Ask me, and so I got to start giving out this link to people because they want to watch, they want to listen, they want to hear what we're saying. That's us as guys. I'm not a female. I'm competing men's open bodybuilding and masters open bodybuilding. But again, they want to hear from them. They don't want to hear from us. They want to hear from them. So, and again, since I've been on your show, it's like, you get a few people here and there. Jeremy's has some good people on there. But again, at the end of the day, don't fucking sit here and cry over bullshit if you're not willing to, change yourself and your perspective to get people to understand what your perspective and what you guys actually do are. What's your daily life? What happens in your day? I just found out that Angela Yo is a baker. Like she bakes. Like Tina told me she's a baker, so she actually bakes cakes for a living. I'm like, who would have knew? But how interesting is that? The world champion is a cake maker, and I guess really good at it because she sent Tina some pictures. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. How interesting of a story is that? That's awesome.
I would love to have it on because
But you would never know.
Yeah, yeah. We have a comment here. This is from War 2000 says, "What's the first show for 2025? The Triple O Dynasty, right? Yes, it's the first show for Women's Bodybuilding for 2025." Also, we have here Balls Deep. He's here. He says, "Schmo gang, 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 gang." He says, "What up and salute. Thank you, brother." He says, "Chicago in here. I appreciate that. Smash the like button. I appreciate that. And also, peace and blessings to the chat. Yeah, I appreciate that. And also, this is from Warrior. He says, Rachel Daniels is a beast. Routines and in the gym. Yeah, I mean, I follow Rachel Daniels. I'm about to work on something about her. But also, as you mentioned, Angela Yo. Now, sometimes she be on social media even now and then, but she just posted this last week. I put repost on my IG channel, but here's the full video where she's talking. So we're gonna pull it up here. It's Angela, the second first runner up at the Olympia, and current world women's bodybuilding champion. So
Turn your volume up. Let's talk. I just got back from the gym. I feel amazing. Today was the first day running through the new back training program, but also kind of a welcome back day because I'm returning from my annual social media break. And truly, the very first thing I wanted to do was get on and thank you guys. Thank you for every bit of support, every message, every post, every story, every mention, every picture, every piece of art, all of it. It means the world to me. Thank you for caring. Thank you for following what I'm up to, my journey, my bodybuilding. Like I love this sport so much. And you guys make this so much fun. The interaction, the dynamics, like this is one of this is the best life I can imagine living. And I just had the best year in my career. It's amazing. And I wanted to say this in a video and not write it down, not like type it into the post, because one of my major goals for this year, personal growth wise, is to be in front of the camera with you more, to talk to you more, to show you more, post more. I have an incredible life, like full of adventure, and I think you guys are really gonna have a blast. So I need to get back into the swing of it. But really the first thing I wanted to do was do a little reflecting and make sure that I did the right thing with a thank you first. So thank you. Everything, all of this means the world to me. And it's only getting bigger from here. It's as big as it could possibly be almost already. I love bodybuilding so much. I love this sport. I love the people. I love what we do. I love the dynamics. It's an amazing life. So thank you for being a part of it. And also, if you've made it this far through the video, please check out my sponsors below. I would not be here without their support. And a lot of them have been with me for years. And I truly hope that I can also push them forward and do them justice and make sure that they get the recognition they deserve from me and for helping me out this far. So thank you to my sponsors. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the fans. Thank you to my friends, family, everybody. Oh, there's going to be so much more. So posts incoming.
That was
Turn your volume up.
I really
Let's
appreciate
talk.
because she's a really cool lady. I post stuff on her on my social media. She responds to it. She's comment to it. She looks even. This is like very just about a month since Olympia. Her shoulder's just amazing. I mean, when she won, I was kind of brokenhearted because you know how much I love Andrea, and to take and win. I mean, this is like her. She was just so happy, and she should be proud of herself because you came in your best condition. The champ came a little short, and she looked great. I mean, I got to give it to her. I'm still, like I said again, I still, love Andrea. I can never, give my love for her. But Angela is just that she has a good spirit, a good person, a good soul. Some people may not like her as much because I think her look, her style is something totally different. But she just, she really loves bodybuilding. It's her and her husband, and they've been together for a long time. I remember she was doing an interview for the Field Bobby Channel, how when they were together early in their relationship, they were in a wreck, and it was like they were riding a motorcycle, and he took the brunt of it for her. The guy still has some issues from it. I mean, I think he still has to get some problems with his hips and stuff like that. He took the brunt for that. And that's saying that's how much you love a woman if you're going to take a force of her getting hit by a car like they did.
Yeah, like I said, the sport needs more of that, and she's just become very vocal because Tina's like, she, and I know it was before or after she won the world championships that she became more vocal, and that's just what the sport needs. But again, they need to be on platforms like your show. They need to be on platforms like all these other guys, and Jeremy's platforms to they're more exposures. I mean, it's like here's the thing. It's like when a person drops a movie, right? That They have a person who they do a gamut of tours and a gamut of interviews with news people and appearances every place and all this other stuff. These are what these girls need to do with you guys. They need to just hit the circuit like, hey, Jeremy, when's your podcast? Hey, George, when's your podcast? Hey, when's such and such podcast? And jump on these podcasts and start creating exposure because everybody has a different audience. Some have the same and some have different. But at the end of the day, that's how you start regaining max exposure for, these people to understand what these girls are doing. And again, when she says thanks, has she ever talked to her sponsors? Have Andrew ever talked to her sponsors? Because I know they all have sponsors. Everybody sit here on this show and be like, man, somebody out there have to have money. Well, clearly these girls have sponsors. Why aren't their sponsors stepping up and supporting what they're doing, for shows? You know what I'm saying? If these people have been sponsoring you for this on Andrew for this show, and I don't know how many girls actually have sponsors, but like, hey, our sport is dying. I don't want to be a dinosaur. I want to keep living. I'm becoming a dinosaur if our sport's not promoted. What can you do to help? That's the question. Because you got all these guys out there, but that's a limited deal. But again, if you run the gamut, like after the Olympia or after the World Championships, and just start creating even more media hype between like you and Andrea Shaw, and just talking and creating some kind of, it's not bad blood. It's like, it's creating something that everybody's like, man, I can't wait to see the Olympia. Man, I can't wait to see them running back to the the World Championships. Man, I can't wait to see this girl on stage, versus this girl on stage, a little, smack talking in a good way, just to create and promote, their sport. And on top of that, running the gamut with your show and Jeremy's show and all this other stuff. If I was their manager, that's what I'd be saying. I'm like, hey, we all need together, they need to create a forum and they need to post it on social media like, hey, girls, we need a bodybuilding forum for just all the pros to go on there and do shows and and designate girls to it ain't just Andrea. There's how many, I don't even know how many women pro bodybuilders out in the world there is, but to do something like that so that again, okay, we're not going to let our sport die again. We're going to try to go out there and get sponsors between our sponsors and other sponsors out there to create and to promote something. If you do that, it creates a buzz. And if you create that buzz, I sound like Raheem right now. If you create that buzz, and that's a compliment, Raheem, by the way. If you
Speaking of devil, he might come.
It becomes more it becomes more, you get more notoriety doing it that way than what they're doing now. And we talked about that on Jeremy's show as well. You see guys out there making videos and posting, and so do I, and things like that. But these girls, you just hear crickets, and that's, the subject at hand. If I was a girl and I seen the subject at hand, I'm like, man, I want to go on the show. I want to go on the show, because, clearly I may have some ideas. And now you're talking about ideas. I had a conversation during the election. Somebody was like, one of my bar guys got into me with, the trans thing and all this other shit. And she goes, well, you sound like a Trumpster. And I go, here's the funny thing. For one, it sounds shitty. I didn't vote because I don't like neither one of the fucking people. But two, I said, those are my ideas, my ideology on which, if I vote, I don't vote on emotion. I vote on what I think is best for my family. What these girls need to do is have their own ideologies and quit being scared, as we always say, and come on and talk about what you guys need, what you guys want, how you guys feel that you can promote the sport and how people can help you promote the sport. Because if they don't know, again, it may be crickets again on their own recognizance and nobody else's.
Yeah, that's the problem. I still support Kamala Harris. I didn't vote because yesterday, the other day, I was doing a lot of stuff. My knee, I couldn't get out of the house like I wanted to. But people gonna learn what's gonna fall, hit the fire. Here we got my man Jeremy, aka Film Physique Fan, aka the Art of Female Muscle. He just came through. He just did an interview, folks, this earlier with Tracy Jones, who just made her pro debut at the Clash. I'm gonna check it out later and listen to it. Shout out to Jeremy. Welcome, brother, and thank you for coming through.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, we just finished up, and it was a really good time.
Yeah, because I want you to. I know how long you'll be on with your interview, because I know you probably wanted to. You're working in the days now and stuff like that, So
right.
But what's your thoughts? What you think as we go back to now that the remaining Muscle Fest is over, it's done, it's a wrap. Natalia Kobaleva now is going to the Olympia. I hope hope she doesn't have any visa issues where she can make it here. Well, I think she people go hog wild. She comes here to the States, especially the fans, especially the Smos. I mean, she's just huge. She's just a monster.
As,
AJR
as,
going oi 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 oi.
as I understand it, she does have a USA visa. So I don't think there's anything standing in the way of her coming. So as far as I know.
Yeah.
So, but now, what is the topic?
We're talking about the future of women's bodybuilding, how things are going to go. Can you think about it? We only have about 6 more weeks left of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we didn't almost have any shows because some shows got dropped, but then people like Alina Popa step up and she had the Alina Classic, the muscle contest created the Grand Prix, and now you already have set in stone top 5 competitors for this year. Because you're going to have Andrea, Angela, Ashley, Hella, and now you have Anastasia Kovaleva. And the question is, you think if someone could add another show, especially for next year, now because I know we have the Masters Olympic coming back, would that really help women's bodybuilding more if this had that extra show?
No, it wouldn't. My prediction for women's bodybuilding is actually kind of dire. Because the way that I see it, the track record of the federations has been this for the last 24 years. Anytime they feel that a division is getting out of control, they come up with a new one. Used to be we had a total of 1 women's bodybuilding. Now we're up to 6. Now, how many more of these? Now, because inevitably, based on the track record that they've got, all these divisions, figure, physique, fitness, they were all hailed as being, oh, well, this is going to be the smaller version. Where are they now? What has happened to every one of them? Now figure is in trouble. Women's physique is in trouble on the amateur level because I just went through a while ago. I was shocked to see how many shows don't have either now. And as I've said before, for the first time ever, you got shows that have pulled figure from their competitive lineups, and these are supposed to be the divisions that save everything. But their stopgap solution has been, oh well, if things get out of control, create another division. They can't do that forever. Because if they do, you're going to end up with what? Week-long shows with like 10 divisions just for the women? And Lord knows how many people are showing up for that? Eventually, it's going to hit a critical mass, and they're going to say, enough is enough. We have to do something. We got to trim things. What's first on the chopping block?
Yeah.
What's first? And it's going to be women's bodybuilding. But here's the thing. Even if they do get, one thing you got to differentiate between is competitive female bodybuilding and recreational female bodybuilding. There are a bunch of women who live the bodybuilding lifestyle who've either not competed and have no desire to compete. Competitive female bodybuilding may very well die. Female bodybuilding in and of itself won't. Thanks to this amazing technology we have called the internet. Yeah. And women will still want to meet together. So, I mean, the competitions may go away. But female bodybuilding itself, it'll never die. You'll always have women who want to look like that.
Yeah, and one thing is, the remaining Muscle Fest, the day before, they have amateur qualification. They picked up 2 new physique in figure pros, but because not enough competitors, there was only 2 ladies at this show. This lady here, 54 years old, she won the overall for women's bodybuilding. Great physique, great aesthetics. I think if there's another body, she probably could have got a pro card. I mean, look, back is just crazy. And the other lady here looked like she just jumped into it the last minute. I mean,
yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah, I mean, and you have this lady right here. She's from Cyprus. She was double dipping. She was doing both figure and physique. And this lady who won the overall. And you have so many competitors. I mean, this lady also just did physique, was doing women's bodybuilding. The big question is, some of these ladies could have jumped over and did women's bodybuilding just to see if they can get their pro card. I mean, because it's getting to the point, like I said again, with the last 2 years at the Olympia, I mean, not at the Remain Muscle Fest. Ladies, I interviewed one lady, Amelia, who was in 2022. She got both the physique and women's bodybuilding pro card. And the next year, Natalia Bystrova did the same thing. So you would think you might have a chance. Why take the chance? Why not? I know the cost of paying for the interest fee, but if you feel like you more have a chance to get your pro card, why not throw your hat in? Before you answer that, we have here comments here. We got here from Man Warrior 2000 says Natalia Amazonka, I want to say her last name, only did one show back in 2019 in the Romanian Muscle Fest Pro. She's coming in second place, but she has 12 million followers on IG. I feel like she should compete in 2025. Yeah, I remember she said she mentioned that she may not compete, but Ravencliff she might. I don't know. It's up to her. He says, Miss Amazonka could do a show and possibly qualify for the Miss Olympia and really bring attention to the show with a huge following on IG. But the thing is, not a lot of people are big fans of female bodybuilders compared to the men. Warrior also says, no female bodybuilder I know in the entire IB has 1 million followers, and that's insane for a WB athlete. And also, if you follow, uh, you know, uh, Natalia, she's on social media a lot. She also has OnlyFans, and she also does one of the Beat the Meat websites. So maybe that's where she picked up some of her followers. Jeremy?
The one thing that we have to understand here with the NPC, because it all starts there, but that's the groundwork for, anybody who's trying to turn pro, is that these classes are not going away. Bodybuilding may, but figure, wellness, bikini, women's physique, because there's so many people in these classes, and there's so many more shows, for these amateur athletes who are chasing after a dream and want to compete to do. So these bigger shows like the Arnold, let's take for prime example, who got rid of these, classes. That's what they're gonna do, and that's fine. The Olympia, they ain't never taking that shit out because, again, at the end of the day, for the NPC and the IFBB is which are one, is money. Jim Mannion, Tyler, Sandy, Steve, and all these guys. My whole saying, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Well, it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense when you go. And we just got to go back and look at the numbers at junior nationals that are about to happen in Texas, junior USAs, nationals, all these damn national pro qualifiers. Team U. I mean, think about it this way. You think bikini's going anywhere when you have 600 girls in the show this year at Team U at $350 a piece? Absolutely not. The problem is the women's bodybuilding is the whole issue with it is it's such a hard look to obtain. And if you look at the age differential between most of the girls that are competing now are probably in late, mid 30s to late 40s is the category we're looking at for women's bodybuilding. So no really young, fresh faces besides the girl that you just seen that won the Romania are really out there. And again, like I just remember what's her name? The girl who you had on the show went from women's physique to women's bodybuilding, and she finally going to wellness. The black girl who went to London.
Jada.
Yeah.
And what did Jada say to us? Jada said it was just too hard on her body. The risk versus the reward these days for women's bodybuilding is not, it's not worth it to a lot of people because a lot of people don't have the resources or finances to go all in and what it takes to be, some of these girls. I mean, like the girl you just run the Romania Fest. She looked phenomenal. But how long? What she said that was her third time doing that show, and she finally won it. Fifth time that she did that show, she finally won it. And I don't even know what the prize money is. But again, at the end of the day, that's what people are looking at. They're, and I think, as I thought about what Betty was saying, and like I said, I don't think that her show is going to succeed. But for the average basic person that wants something that is obtainable and want to do something, and we don't know how far to go. I don't think it's going to go very far. But basically, that's what she was trying to say. That, you don't have to do this. We have 20 different categories, a curvy category, a fit category, a athletic category, and this category, gown category, and all this other bullshit, that goes along with this. So people can say, oh, well, I don't have to do that. I can do this instead, which I don't think is going to make it. But in the NPC, if you guys ever did the research numbers on local shows and national shows when it comes to, or pro qualifiers when it comes to figure, bikini, women's physique, women's or men's physique, men's classic physique, those classes are so huge at all, like all these like, Pittsburgh show, every national qualifying show, and those are the biggest classes. Now the drop off is women's bodybuilding and women's physique. That's where the drop off is, right? So again, Jake pumped blood back into this women bodybuilding thing, which it got back up there. But again, the self exposure, and I think from what I heard is somebody's not very fond in the IFBB, and I'm not going to say any names, but somebody's not very fond of women's bodybuilding at all, and it's when it's not Jim, it's not Tyler, it's not Steve, it's not any of those guys, but it's somebody within that foundation who can, damned if I do, if damned if I don't. We finally got Jake on our team, so it don't make a difference to us now if they have women's bodybuilding or not, which is unfortunate. But again, at the end of the day, I mean, women's physique, because that's still an obtainable look, and again, I watched that video again of, because I sent it to one of my clients who first show, she's doing all novice categories in women's physique. And I sent her a video of Sandy talking about women's physique. And it just amazes me how when I listen to it again, and Sandy's like, no prostration to the glutes and blah, blah, blah. But that's what we see. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, so I can send this video to my client who doesn't have any aspirations, all natural, to do any of that shit. But when I hear it, come through and ring through again, and yet you're seeing Sarah and Natalia and all these girls with cross-trations of glutes and the condition is better than women's bodybuilding, I'm like, there has to be some accountability held with the IFBB and the NPC. Well, the NPC for one, because I don't, because most of the time when we're looking at these athletes in the NPC, they don't get extreme until they understand what it actually, like if they get their pro card, what it actually takes to be successful in this sport or to be competitive in this sport for that matter. And so now they got to take it out. I mean, think about when you looked at Sarah and Natalia, when they first started competing in this, they didn't look like that. I mean, you got to go back to like, we're seeing her now, but what does she look like when she very first started competing? You know what I'm saying? And where she at now, and Natalia and a lot of these other girls, and I think that's what makes Andrea different than everybody else. Because Andrea has a balance of both worlds. She has a balance of muscle, beauty. She's not manly looking. She's very soft spoken. But she's a happy medium. And when you look at if I look at Sarah, which I know she's smaller than Andrea and she's smaller than Angela Yo, but condition wise, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, if women's bodybuilding looks like this and women's physique look like that, a lot of people that I know who don't really know the sport are shaking their head like, I'm really confused at what I'm looking at. I'm really confused at what we're doing, especially if that's not the guidelines or the rules. And here's a prime example how confusing the rules are. So I have a client who's doing the natural show in May, but the rule says that you can't have any plastic surgery or augmentation done to your body but your boobs, right? So first time she had a child, she was super young. She has skin and belly. So she's like, I'm like, well, why don't she has a finance? I'm like, why don't you get a plastic tummy tuck? She's like, well, in the NPC rules, the natural rules, that you can't do that. So I called them. I said, how? I said, is this a rule? Because it's in the book. I'm like, it's in the rules. And I called the NPC office, and they said, as long as the judges, in his exact words, the judges are judging what they're looking at on stage. And I said, so she can have it done. But that's how confusing this shit is, to people, who are trying to compete for, recreationally or trying to compete to turn pro or whatever the case may be. It's just all confusing because the jargon makes no sense. Do they, it's like I keep referring back to the NFL because that's where I played. And every year you have owners meetings, right? Because rules change, the way you can hit a person, the way you can tackle a person, et cetera, et cetera. And so that being said, it's like the NPC with all, I mean, because this is an international sport now, and it's all over the world. So why don't you have a, a symposium with, because it can be online like we're doing right now. Have a symposium like these are the different rules, and this is what we're looking at, and this is how we're judging things, and everybody's on there, or or notes or something. But they do none of this, so it's just all goddamn confusing all the time. For especially women's physique, women's bodybuilding, women's in women's in figure is confusing as shit. So it's just that's the frustration of coming from the NFL in a very organized organization to come into this and not knowing exactly what they want from athletes and what they're doing with athletes, and then athletes being confused of what they're chasing after. And that's the frustrating thing. Well, if you do it in the NFL, they're doing it in the NBA, they're doing it in the MLB, they're doing it in NHL and all this other stuff. Why aren't you doing the same thing? Especially when your sport is just as international as those other sports.
Yeah. Here we got a comment from man Chad Davies says, "Hey Big Heath, I sent to one of your says Tina Williams in the right one. If not, send me one. Just type my name. It's Chad Davis. I have a
Got it.
black and white profile picture. It would be great too." And it says, uh, he says this is also, uh, it would be great to link up with you and Miss Tina. You got a fan, brother. You got a fan. You better here long enough, got a fan. Also,
Got
we
it.
have a comment from a man, Warrior says, Angela Yo is remarkable, talented, and on stage and off stage. He says Angela is also genuine and generous. And also he says, wow, Yo is a baker. That's interesting. Yeah, that's
So
something.
again, here's the thing: how cool would it be to do day in the lives of some of these girls? I remember when I was an amateur in muscular development, came to my house and they literally did a day in my life. I was, you know, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, do my cardio, eat my food, prepping my food, going to see the chiropractor, training, going to train athletes. It was a whole day in the life for me. It's like when you do that, and muscular development was great at that. But when you do that for these, especially like these sports, because the IFBB is not going to do it, so these girls are going to have to be proactive and do it themselves. And the Olympia and the Wings of Strength only do it when it comes to getting ready for the World Championships or the Olympia. You don't see it any other time, right? So at the end of the day, you start sitting here like collaborating with these other girls, and they just sent the 2-man camera crew out, and I was an amateur then, to just follow me around for a couple days and grab the footage and then put it all together, and it was super cool, But again, what did you say? Angela Yo's a baker. So how cool would it be to get into some of these girls' lives, like Andrea Shaw trains people and it's Shine Fitness in Detroit. And there's other things to these girls' life that we don't know. George, I remember you doing a thing on a girl in Italy, and she was changing the diaper. She just had a baby, and her husband was changing the diaper. It was really super cool. But we don't see that in these women athletes. We don't see that at all. So that's just something, again, ideas, all these ideas that we're throwing up in the air, but sometimes some of them got to catch them and run with them, but they don't, and that again, not everybody's a social media person, so how they get themselves out there, I don't know. I mean, the great thing is, Wings of Strength has a great production, factory in Phoenix, and like run the ideas by Nico, run the ideas by by Jake, run the ideas by Alex and Jessica, saying, you invested so much into this. Now we're trying to get something out of it. How can you guys help us and ourselves help ourselves to make our sport don't die again? Because
I,
there's some
s-
people out there that don't give a shit.
I
If I
see
say,
some. No, I was about to say, I don't know if this mattered, but I would see Marge Martin, do like videos of her. She get up in the morning and like a documentary type of
Yeah,
thing. And I remember she was like in this Jubilee thing where if the person was natty or unnatty, that type of thing, and with other people, but they weren't like some of them weren't like competitive bodybuilders. Some of them were just like bodybuilders that be in the gym or something like that, or have like a social media platform like on Instagram and that type of thing. But you know, I mean, some of them they do put themselves out there, but it's not everybody like that. Cause I've talked to I remember I was talking to what's her name, Tina Fernandez, and she didn't really care too much about social media, but because I think her coach or somebody had told her like to get into this sport, to you like to get followers, you need to be on social media, but she didn't want to be on social media. So
Well,
I
that's a
think
that's
problem, because unfortunately, the world that we live in these days, social media is the biggest platform. IG, Twitter, Snapchat, and all this, Facebook is the biggest platform for people to get exposure, to be seen. Because if not, our sport is somewhat of a popularity contest, somewhat these days. Again what you bring on stage in the package, but a lot of hype and stuff is created through social media, through via yourself, and through people wanting to who they want to see, who they want to see on stage, and who they want as a champion. That's why, I mean, why do you think now that the Olympia now has the Olympia title plus the People's Champ? They have it for a reason, because they want the audience to feel like they're involved in somehow, some way. Well, my guy may not have won, but like The Voice, all these shows are all right. The final is always going to call in its votes now. It's not just the judges up there saying who they think. It's people calling in, giving their opinion, and then basically the champion's determined by the people who called in and voted, for a particular person. The judges still have their votes, but the audience that watches the show, that are making your show popular, are the ones who end up giving you your final result. And that's just what needs to happen, in some essence or some form. And it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here we
and getting back to the subject of sponsorship, that's now closely tied to social media now.
Yep.
Because a lot of times, if you get a sponsorship, part of the sponsorship deal is you agree to do social media posts, either stories or reels on a daily basis or like on a weekly basis, to help promote the company that you're sponsored by. So a lot of times when you look at the women in their captions, they have their product codes. Say type in my code and you get a certain percentage off. And that's part of the sponsorship agreement. So now, if you want sponsorship, if you want money, you have to be on social media. It's
Yep.
part of your contract to do it. So
The funny
if
thing
you
that Jeremy says that,
if you don't want to be on social media is one thing. You sign up with a contract, you're on social media whether you want to be or not.
and the funny thing that Jeremy says that is, that's so weird that we brought that up, because I told somebody that if I didn't have a sponsor and wasn't under contract and they weren't paying me, I wouldn't be on social media. But that's the only reason why I'm on social media, because I get paid. It's my part of my job, with my sponsors.
Right.
So you have to do it. You have to create content, and I thank God I have a great person that I'm actually meeting with tomorrow on a Zoom call, just because she's like, "How can we help you? Do things?" Because they know I hate social media, so they're like, "How can we help you? Create a bigger platform than you already have?" And I was like, so usually with Victoria, I'll do a video at the gym, and she's like, "Send it to me. I'll put it together, show you the hashtags, put on there, and then I just post it on my social media, because some people are just not big social media fans, but it's a part of my contract. So in order for me to get paid, that's what I have to do." And then there's like, I mean, think about it. There are all these gym influencers that are on social media who has millions of followers. Like that one guy you were just talking about who just won the Romania, George. He had 1 million plus followers. Again, at the end of the day, you know, those followers, what I realized is certain social media companies like YouTube and Twitter and IG and Snapchat, and TikTok, they pay people, you know, they pay people to be.
Monetization.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
monetization. Yeah, yeah,
I did a
because I
video
know.
for my Crunch Fitness, and I think I had a what $2.1 million, and I got a check from TikTok for $300. And I'm like, what the hell? And I was just in some corny video TikTok that I did with some people at Crunch Fitness, but I didn't know it was that big of a deal, but clearly it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, because you use your image, you want to pay you for it. Here we got a comment from me where he says, I don't give a damn what people think of Angela Yo. Look, she is being herself and has her own unique style. So screw everyone that don't like it. Angela's awesome. We know that, brother. We know that. Also, he says, uh, it would be a pleasure to have Angela on your channel, George. So cool. Well, I might send some to her because I know she's a busy lady. It's up to her what she wants to be on. Here we got here from me and Chad Davies says, "What's good, brother KL and film physique fan? By the way, shout out, thank you, that brother.
It's a
Also, yeah, and also we got this from Warrior says we got to do anything to hype up the sport of bodybuilding, come together and expose it as much as possible. Find forums that can generate recognition. Yeah, and also this is from Balls Deep. It says maybe we might see the first $1 million FPB tournament. That'd be something nice to do. I mean, I used to remember was it the who was it? It was somebody. It was this man did this a few years ago. It was called the Brawl for It All. It was like kind of a tough man thing he did for and I think he had so much money, and then you get a contract. And the guy who won it was Bart Gunn, the big brother of Billy Gunn. And and it was some side. I used to like they come out there, they fighting, and it was just really, especially wrestlers still popular in a way. We have here. This is from also from Warrior says, yeah, the hardcore schmoes like the freak factor of women's bodybuilding, regardless if they don't look like supermodels, hot like Christina Mendoza, Lavenia Barros, Andrea Shaw, Nadia Capasoto. Yeah, those are very attractive women. And also, this is from Man Baldi says, yeah, unfortunately, FPB will be a niche market forever. Steroids hurt their market, and that's why sponsors is so scarce. And that's always going to be the issue. So, but as a fan, I do this content. I do it because I'm a fan of these ladies. I respect them. I enjoy the opportunities to talk to them, to hear their voices, to share. Like I said, just interviewed a young lady, Nicolette Burton, who is a nurse that works in hospice for babies that are dying and helping families. And that was somebody who I told her, hey, that'd be somebody that really could, really can use the sponsorship and attention. She can bring attention also to her charity. It's just the opportunities are so far few between, and it's people have to be open minded and willing to give these women the chance to represent themselves, their sport, and just a little bit more recognition.
That's true, but they got to be willing to do it, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the problem. They have to be willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You got a great channel. Jeremy has a great channel. They have to be willing to do it in order for it to succeed. Again, you have all these, us as guys who are trying to help promote their sport have all these visions, but why do we have the visions and why don't they?
Yeah, it's just crazy. We have here from man, Vinny K. Shout out to Vinny K. Says NPCIB are already adding another layer of burden. It's a natural division for every category. I think because that's, as you know, this weekend is also the Natural Ben Weir show. We have other those. See, the thing about the natural competitors, they are climbing a tough battle uphill because you're competing against, like, if you win an Olympic qualification, a lady who won natural was, her name is uh, Andrea Alfonso. She won her title at that show, and she was nearly at the bottom compared to some of the other women. And it's a look that's it's hit or miss depending. You don't even have natural women's bodybuilding because you know what? You never get women that big naturally.
They mostly look like, women's physique competitors versus women bodybuilders because it's natural.
Yeah, or
So
closer to more like figure in some ways.
yeah.
Anyway, one person who I follow also is I follow social media. Always keep is I saw that also the winner from Win Physique was Carolina dos Santos. Carolina, this was her fifth Olympic qualification since she's been a pro. And the big problem about Carolina is that she doesn't. I don't know what's going on. She don't make since Olympia. She has since 2020. She has been winning qualifications. She won at Portugal, and then for some reason she didn't do the show. Then she wins here in Romania, her fifth. And the good question is, why the inconsistency? I mean, there's some issues. She has a great physique, a great look. She's attractive. I think she could do well now that yesterday is Evie Rain's birthday. I say happy birthday, Evie Rain, and now that's one of a popular Brazilian competitor. Evie's is also the the Miss Masters Olympia champion, multiple time Olympia competitor. Evie's out of the way now, and there's a good chance that Carolina, if she is already second to Evie at the Masters Olympia, she might get that title also. And I'd say she has a great physique, great lines, very feminine, very attractive. But the issue is the visa thing. And she did talk about this in an interview. Her English is not that good. I think she's still working on it. It's a little bit broken. So I'm going to pull it up. This is the one I was talking about, where this is somebody who has this issue with visas.
Welcome to Romania Muscle Fest. My name is Lauren Lata, and I am with your new women's physique champion, Caroline Alves dos Santos from Brazil. How does it feel to be Olympia qualified?
This my 5 qualification consecutive for Olympia. Last 5 years, all years, athletes qualified of Olympia. Então é uma superação porque todo ano eu estou me classificando, tem 5 anos seguidos que eu me classifico ao Olympia, mas eu não possuo visa. I'm not visa athlete. Então eu não consigo ir à Olympia. I don't go to Olympia, but not visa athlete. In Brazil, not sponsors, not support for athletes for go to Olympia. Athletes feminine, women's divisions, not more sponsors.
That's great. You look so beautiful on stage. Great routine and everything that you did. I actually watched you a few years ago on this very stage 2 years ago when you won again. So it's great to see you back, and you look Linda. And to all of our Brazilian fans out there, thank you so much for watching here at Romania Muscle Fest, a Wings of Strength production. I am with your new Wings of Strength and Romania Muscle Fest champion, Miss Caroline, and congratulations with everything.
Romania is a beautiful place, persons friendly, very friends, and special place, special extra tour, beautiful championship. I love the Romania. All years, come back to here.
So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
Wait, did the interviewer seriously just say after she said she can't go to she can't go because of visa? That's great. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Did she listen to what in the world she was saying?
I don't think she understood half the words that she was saying.
Right, yeah. But it was like she was saying 5 years she's qualified. She can't get to the Olympia because she doesn't have a visa, and also because they don't have sponsorship in the country. And then the interviewer goes, "That's good."
And she
like, what the hell was going on there?
She wasn't focusing. That's.
Oh my God!
She's from Brazil.
But here's the funny thing about that. It says she's from Brazil. Lavinia Bottles comes here. She lives in the States. She hangs out with Amanda Machado. Austin Barrito. She's been training with Iris Kyle. Zama Binta. She's done both Tampa and Texas. I don't know. Like I said, it's not like she has over $50,000 followers. And she's also an online coach in Brazil. She's also she has official Better Bodies, Gasp, and another and something like I said again, something's not stirring the Kool-Aid, man.
And here's the
Because
thing, though, if when you qualify for Olympia, they pay for your shit. They pay for your travel. They pay for your hotel. You get a food per diem because my closing coach Robert Wickman competed in Olympia. I'm like, what do they all pay for Olympia? And they pay for your hotel, your flight. You know, I think you get 2 tickets to the show. You get a food per diem of $150 a day or something like that. So I don't understand. You know, I mean, it applies to anybody who's competing because I'm sure, like with Olympia, they have a special travel agent they go to make sure all these athletes get here and whatsoever. So it has to be more to the story than that. But again, if you say that this girl has qualified for Olympia 5 times and has never done one, I'm not going to give her the title because again, you're taking like I was just thinking, George, when you were showing Angela Yo and her being Andrea, and Andrea's already qualified for Olympia. Andrea Yo's already qualified for Olympia. And we're sitting here saying the numbers are dwindling, then you can still, in my opinion, you can still, and I think we talked about this on Jeremy's show, you can still give them their title. She is the world champion, clearly. Andrea is second. These girls are already qualified. In the background, in the back scene, the IFBB should be saying, okay, whoever was third, which she probably qualified, which is Ashley, who qualified as well. Whoever was fourth, okay, to make this fair, to keep the numbers where we need them to be, the girl who plays fourth or fifth, and I know it doesn't sound right, gets the qualification.
Yeah,
Because
bump
again,
system.
huh?
Bump system. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't understand how it makes sense to us, but it doesn't make sense to the IFBB, to do that. Because again, the numbers will go up. Clearly those girls were facing good competition. I'm sure they will get better. Some girls get better, some girls get worse. But the numbers are where they need to be. That because I was just thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm looking at Angela Yo in the World Championships. This girl, and especially if you qualify 5 times, I definitely ain't giving you the title. I don't give a shit how good you look because, again, you're wasting another spot for another athlete that should be, who wants to go, who's willing to go. If Tina would have won, let's say hypothetically speaking, if Tina would have won the Titan show, would she have been ready to get on the Olympia stage? No. But if you qualify, she going anyway because that's supposed to be your dream, just to get there. So if that's your dream, I mean, what are we all chasing for as competitors? To get to the Olympia, mine's now to get to the Master Olympia. The Olympia thing is gone, but it's still a dream of mine to get to the Master Olympia, which I'm going, things like that. But again, at the end of the day, I am not going. Like, here's a prime example. When I was an amateur and I got my pro card, I did my first pro show within 4 weeks of turning pro because I'm like, I waited 3 years for this shit, 4 years for this shit. Or how many long years I was an amateur? I am going on the pro stage no matter what. And I remember Tony Freeman looking at me and says, "You're better pro than an amateur." So I don't understand the whole logic of these girls who sitting there saying, "Oh, well, I'm going to take off here," or not going. That's just disrespectful. That Olympia qualification because it's one of the hardest things in the world to actually get. I don't know.
Yeah. Here we got here from a man, Vinny KK. Vinny says, now that Don was back, the visa is going to be a pain in the ass. Many foreign competitors free Carolina. Also, this is for War 2000. She probably may need a translator with her because she looks like she's still trying to speak English, but it's improving slightly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because she does. Yeah, and that's thing you work on. I'm surprised she didn't have somebody who's there to translate it for because she does speak a little English. Also, although she still struggles with her words, like Lilo from the Fifth Element. Man, that's off, man. Come
Yep.
on. But she just needs a Rosetta Stone program, and she's good to go. Maybe she needs to take a class. Shout out my man. Jeremy just left. Shout out to Jeremy. Thank you for coming through. See you later. I'm going to later when I have to finish with this, I will check out his interview with the lovely Miss Tracy Jones. Also, we have a comment. This is from Shout outs to Warrior 2000. He says, Sarah is ridiculous ripped. And Balls DB says, nice glutes. Yeah. And my man Warrior says, her conditioning is otherworldly. I give her that even though I'm not a fan. Kind of say like, he's a fan of this person. He says, Natalia's pretty insane too. Yeah, she is, but I'm not a fan of hers either. But yeah, it's just about timing, what you need to do, and I hope she doesn't do another show because you already got your spot. If you can't make the Olympia, why keep competing? Step aside, retire, do something else. I mean, that could have been Barbara Majan. Cause Barbara Majan, I'm a fan of hers. She's been on my channel before. I interviewed her, and this could have been great for her because she could have worked. Spend the rest of the year working. Now Barbara has to either do maybe Portugal, where she won the title before. She beat Carolina. Carolina does not do Portugal. Well, Portugal is easy for her to do because Portuguese. The language is somewhat different, but yet the same in a way. Brazilian Portuguese is, but some translations is just. But I hope she doesn't do no other shows. She's already qualified for the Masters Olympic because she was second run up to Evie Rain last year. So just do that. Don't do no other shows. This is from also my man. This I think I already said that. He said this. This is from my man Warrior says, George, you have Angela Yo avatar picture. Didn't know you were a fan like that next to Andrea. Yes, I mean I like Angela. I like her attitude. I like her look. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan. Like I said, I always gonna love Andrea. That's just me. I love Andrea. So, gentlemen, I don't want to hold y'all much too longer. I do appreciate y'all coming on here and giving your thoughts and your opinion on this because women's bodybuilding, it needs some kind of intervention to save it. These ladies are amazing competitors. The ones I have interviewed, the ladies I've become friendly with, people like Tina and people like Melanie, people like Angela and Andrea, and all the others who put in the time and work this sport and need the opportunity. And you need to have some promoters to have the courage to give the opportunity. I mean, it's so much to it. And like I said, I reached out because I did reach out to a couple ladies and said, hey, you want to come on? But they're busy. I understand that. But like I said, I still come on here anyway because this is something that needs to be talked about. If we, the people who support you and fan you, are talking about it, then you have to step up. You have to speak for yourself. You don't want this man to speak for you. You got to speak for yourself.
Exactly. Like I said, everybody's busy. I have a busy ass schedule, and I'm going to take the time and speak on it, and speak on things I know as a judge, as a competitor, as a visionary who I don't want to see the sport die because my wife actually competes in it as well. So it's kind of one of those things where, like they say, a mouth closed don't get fed unless you open it up and put some food in it. And at the end of the day, this is their responsibility. It's their responsibility. You know why these guys are not worried about it? Because their money is where it needs to be. So they don't have to. When they're sitting there saying the prize money is going up at the Arnold, the prize money is going up at the Olympia, the prize money is going up at the New York Pro, and it's benefiting mostly the men's classes, the men's open bodybuilding classes. So they don't have the concerns or the worries that women bodybuilders clearly should be having, but don't care to have. It's kind of frightening, because it's like, we got to do something. We got to be proactive to make this happen. We need to start going on these platforms, these podcasts, these shows, and show people like, we are real. This is, we just not, gym rats. We're just not in the gym. We're just not ladies pumping steroids in our body and all this other bullshit. We are live human beings with daily lives and daily activities. When people start to see that, then there becomes a realization, a connection between the people who are curious but are scared to ask the questions. I just know so many people who see me and look at me, and I've had to get used to, like, I see myself and Tina sees herself all the time, right? But when we'll go in a grocery store and people just staring at us, we got to understand that we're not normal. So instead of, I used to take offense, like, if you're going to fucking stare, say something. If you're going to stare, fucking say something, say hello or something. But some people look at me like, man, I ain't saying shit to those people. I had an old guy, and old people are the best because this guy I was pushing the cart and Tina was somewhere, and he goes, and she comes around the corner. He goes, "Well, clearly you two are together," and he had to be in his 80s, because he was like, I walked around. He's like, well, you clearly work out. I go, and I always say just a little bit, and then Tina comes walking around the corner and goes, "Wow," So some people are fascinated and will speak on it, and some people are not, and just afraid of it because we're not normal. We don't see a lot of people, walking around like us all the time. So that's when you really want to be friendly. That's where you really want to inspire young kids. That's where you really want to inspire people just to take care better of themselves. So people look at me like, you're inspiration to me. And I was this guy in a wheelchair at Planet Fitness the other day when I was there. You're inspiration. And I'm like, dude, you're in a wheelchair in here. So I have no fucking excuses. I said, every day I wake up and can take a breath. And my saying is I got 10 toes down and I'm 6 feet up. Every day that I'm able to wake up, I'm blessed. But to see, I had a lady at the gym I used to train at named Dottie. Dottie was probably 75 in the gym every day. I said, Dottie, you're inspiring me. You know why? Because you don't have to be here. You're retired, but you're here every day. And when you make those connections, then you become this different person to that person. And then that person will say, I have a bodybuilder friend. One of my buddies came over yesterday and he says, my daughter always talks to you about her friends at school. So guess what I'm doing next week? I'm going to school with her and have lunch. Because there's you don't know that. And she's 9. Ashton is 9. And she's like, so I said, tell him Uncle Keith, well, she's not my uncle, but I said, tell him Uncle Keith is coming to have lunch and you're paying. So get those fish sticks and chicken nuggets ready. Because again, at the end of the day, when you do little things like that and you expose yourself to kids and you expose yourself to people like that, it become a human side of who you are, and as big as I am and as, crazy as I look, there's a human element to people wanting to know you, but are scared to get to know you just because of your facade. So in order to break that mold down, and this is what I'm telling these ladies out there, you got to create a platform. You got to do these things. You got to, in college, we had a program when I called What a Difference program. So it was a bunch of black athletes and students at St. Cloud State. And we went to little rural white towns, George, and we talked to white kids and said, what is your persona of black people? And most of the persona that they got from who we were ghetto, gangbangers, and all this other stuff because of mass media. So it's the same thing as bodybuilding for men, women, and everything else. It's this persona that people have of us, like he said, attaching steroids to it, which is a bad stigma. But when you start educating people that it's more to that, it's the diet, it's the cardio, it's the posing, it's this, that, and the other. It's a whole bunch of things. Then it kind of the bad mantra that we have been getting for this many years. Well, you're not going to change everybody's mind, but you can start tearing it down a little bit. But if you don't do that, ladies and gentlemen, it's never going to change, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I said, inspiration is very important. I think a lot of people find inspiration in people who really love the sport. Some people, sometimes the inspiration can be suspect. I will pose this because, I sent it to, KL the other day, and he played it, and I played Jessica Ray Padilla, and she talks about something why she's still competing, and that's the figure division. She is probably the most decorated woman in the division outside of Cindy Gillen. And she just did a show. This is her second show after the Olympia. This was at Texas State. She did a show, and she won. I think she did both women's. She did both figure. I don't know why I say women's. There's men's class. That's figure. She did both masters and open. And she was outside with another competitor. And they were
Jessica, why do you keep competing so much? You don't have to. And the thing is that they don't realize it, that you get so much more than a placement, a winning, or a money. It's about the opportunity that you got to meet people like you guys, to inspire other people, to make changes in their life. And it is not just physically, not in the way that you look or they look. It's from the inside out. And you don't understand how much you can give to someone by just talking to them and let them know to keep going, to never give up, to share some of the struggles and the situations that you got in your past, and you still beat those moments and you still make it happen. And those things you cannot put price on it.
No.
And that's my reward. I don't do this because of the money or because I need it, but it's the opportunity to share the stage with such much amazing women out there. And whoever is not doing it, they're missing the most wonderful part of bodybuilding.
Yes.
Well,
Like, Jessica,
I
why you
say
keep
I respect
competing
what
so
she's
much?
saying
Like, you don't
in a
have
way, but again, you're just a step away for possibly being the next figure Olympia champion. Now that Sid is out, and I'm saying you want to be competitive, be active, like her and the tag, because they're the same person that's Andrew Wu. But here's what somebody told me: this is more about cutting down the numbers in your division where you have to face too many competitors, and also to be in front of the judges. Inspiration part, yes, that's a little bonus to it, but we all know it's about her because she can probably do 2 more shows next year before the Olympia. I like I said, she has an amazing body. But a while back, I was reaching out to her and yada yada. I said, you know what, you know,
Oh, so
but
she doesn't, she talks it, but she doesn't walk it. That's what you're saying.
she sort of way talks it, but still,
No, but I'm saying like in her terms of personality wise, like like if she say she gonna do something, she don't do it. That's what you trying to say. I'm trying to understand it. That's what.
yeah. Well, like I said, I
No, I'm
think her
asking
motive.
you. I'm asking you.
Like I
Like,
said,
is
I think I said her motives are kind of suspicious. That's what I'm gonna say.
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
that's I'm gonna leave it like that. So
All
yeah,
right.
we got a few more comments before we head out, and this is from Warrior says, sorry that was low with the Fifth Element joke. My bad. Yeah, a great show, Fifth Element. Like Andrea's like the Fifth Element. She's perfect. And also, this is from Dylan K. He says, "Damn, Keith, you're dropping knowledge. Shit. Wish we had more people like you, bro. He's a special breed. My
Here's the
brother's a
thing.
special
It's
breed.
just experience, man. It's like, when you're, 3-time runner-up at USA's and nationals, and understanding the logistics of this sport compared to coming from the NFL where you don't have to do any of this shit. I have an agent who does all this shit for me. My agent tells me, hey, Keith, you got to appearance. My sponsor's Titan. Hey, Keith, you got to, I did the Tampa Pro, took my daughter to Disney World, got back home. I had to literally unpack my suitcase and pack it back and fly to New York for an event. So that's part of the business. It's part of the gig. That's how you get paid. So I understand the logistics, and I don't think that a lot of these, athletes, especially female athletes, understand the logistics and what you have to do to, And I remember being an amateur, Michael Lockett. I competed against him, and I'm like looking at Dave Palumbo, and I'm like, "Hey, Dave, how am I gonna beat this guy?" And Dave's like, "Well, let your body do the talking." Well, I knew better at that point in time that it's more of a popularity contest, and Michael Lockett had a bigger following than me, and that's not in Instagram. I think it was MySpace at the time and shit like that they had. But you start to understand the logistics and things, and Charles Glass start educating me on what you have to do to make yourself relevant in this sport. And I don't think a lot of girls make themselves they're relevant within their circle, their network, but they're not relevant to the world. And that's a whole different, bigger and better audience.
hmm we got here from man Chad. He says, uh, all brothers, it's been groovy. See you all soon. Big Keith, send me you and Tina's request ASAP so we can talk muscle up and Cowboy and Chiefs. Also, this is from Warrior says, I believe Jessica won't procrastinate her decisions. This time, she will do what she needs to do to be Miss Olympia figure. That's what I'm saying. The specific figure is Miss Olympia. And also, Jessica, I think she has what it takes to be the next figure Olympia champion. She's my favorite. Everybody has a favorite. Also, we got a few more here since today is Veterans Day. We want to shout out here.
Happy
This
Veterans
is
Day to all you guys.
Happy Veterans. Because to my niece and my nephew, sir, shout out to them. I love them. And my brothers, it's been groovy tonight. Happy Veterans Day. I'm a street veteran. I dodged the bullets. Brother George, you see soon. Big Keith, see you and me and you, Tina, friends. Quest ASAP, brother. Also, this is from Balls. He says Merry Veterans Day. And my man Warrior 2000 says, shout out to all the veterans around the country who are watching, who appreciate your service. I won't say, yeah, we appreciate your service. We do. And, that's why I say, we appreciate the sacrifice you make, service you make for this country. I mean, it's a lot for somebody to do. My niece and nephew, they served. Anybody who served, a lot of like people like Margie Martin, a lady I interviewed a while back, Miss Nisi, she served. Also, Dominique Geist, quite a few other ladies who I've interviewed, Krista Ware, Julia Webler. I mean, the ladies and men who have served this country, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for what you have done, the sacrifice you made, and all you put into it for us as citizens. Um, this is from my man Ward. Says, you think Missy Trescott will be the Corey Everson of fitness? Maybe. She's thinking about switching over. It's kind of ambiguous what she's thinking about. She might stay in fitness. She might be the Corey Everson, or she might surpass that. Maybe be the Linda Murray of fitness. Linda has 8 titles, Corey's have 6. So my man Big Keys has stepped out. We appreciate him coming through. KL man here. You have anything to say before we head out?
Nah. This thank you for having me. That's all.
You're always welcome, because this is why I have this brother on. He had me on his live stream the other day. It was great to talk about that. I just got a request with BC. He shot back at me, so now I picked up a new friend. I hope maybe I get a chance to interview this girl. I saw her. She has a nice physique. I hope she does eventually get a pro card. I think she has a nice looks to her. But folks, if you're someone out there who is a fan of women's bodybuilding, you have deep pockets, and I understand you don't want to be, involved, because do this. Hire somebody you can trust. Have them step up to people like Jake Wood, and to see if you can help out. Talk to some of these promoters. One show they had the Clash. Someone told me what Nick Burton told me is that they're not going to have women's physique next year. I think it was just a one-shot deal. I don't know the story of it. Someone might tell me about it later down the road once they start asking some questions. The list will not be out for the Olympia, not for the season, next season. It'll be out by December, but then they have to reboot it, so we won't officially be set to maybe about mid-January, I believe. Sometimes you get shows that drop off or change. So once we get the list, I know some ladies said they want to see what the list could be like. I'll send it to them, and we'll show the best. We have here from man Dylan. Before we let him go, it says, George, love your show, man. Please keep it up. Thank you, brother. I will. I do as best I can what I got. And also take care, Ward 2000. Have a good night, bro. I appreciate all y'all were here. Like my man, Jeremy was here. My brother, Big Keith, my man here, KL the Wanderer, Ball Steve, Ward 2000, Billy K, Dylan McKay. You also Chad Davis and Ball, and all y'all who watch this live stream. We appreciate your support. We thank you. Also to our service people, I would never say thank you for your service. I would say, as a citizen, I truly appreciate the sacrifices you have made for this country, and some more you're going to make later on. So be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Veterans Day. Get the chance to go to a buffet, eat discount, eat for free. Step up. Shout out to the veterans, especially the two of my family, my niece. And also, today would have been the 58th birthday of my sister, Mary Elizabeth MacArthur. She was the baby girl of our family. She was my big sister. It's been just about 7 years since she passed. Past March. We call her Malia because we can say Mary Elizabeth, so we call her Malia. And I love her. We were the only two who didn't have kids.
My condolences.
Yeah, but she had poodles. She loved it. I love you, Mary. She with my mom, my brother, my daddy, and I don't want to see you sue Mary, but I'll be happy to see you. But I love you. I mean, it's just for this next few weeks, it's gonna be nothing but Scorpio birthdays. My other sister Jean's coming up. My brother Larry's in the 16th. My nephews, Gabe just had it. I think his is coming up. My great nephew just had his last week, and mine is gonna be the 19th. That's the big 50.
I'm getting there, George. You ain't the only one. I'm getting
It's a
there.
climb, son, but I'm here. I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
still
you still
standing.
here. Yeah, you still here.
I built this shit. Me, brick by brick,
Wow, great.
still standing. Like Antoine Fisher. So, folks, thank you again. If I keep saying this, guys, if you have deep pockets, you have your family's bodybuilding, reach out to promote shows added on to the next year. Let's at least get at least 20 bodies for the next Olympia. Even help competitors who might have visual issues. You know, anything you can do, they most definitely need it. Says George, you crazy. Well, you know I am, because I have a particular type of criminal. And he's a part of me. He's the guy who's, as I often say, he competes me. Thank you, folks. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate your support. Thanks to my brothers, K. Elder Wanderer, Jeremy, Big Keith. All you out there, follow these ladies on social media, support them. Ladies, you got to put in the work. This is for you. This is your sport. I'm just a fan. I don't have no skin in the game. This is your sport. You want to survive. You want to make it. Do what's best for you. Like Keith said, a closed mouth don't get fed. You ain't gonna be hungry if you don't eat. So anyway, appreciate folks coming through. Thank you for your time. Best of luck. Shout out. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. And we'll see you next week. This is your man, Always Judge Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Good evening, good night, and good luck.